Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio.
So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. It's time!
3 on the way. Oh! It went in! It went in! And Indiana wins the ball game!
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Float game for the win! Ayla's gone. Goodbye. Touchdown, Indy. Woo! IU. America. They got a football team now.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
Now, here's Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody, welcome aboard. Glad to have you along for another edition of Indiana Sports Speed Radio on this Thursday. The week is rolling right along as we're back at it. And what is this, week 7 of the college football season? Actually, it's probably week 8 because of the buys and all of that. So it's hard to keep up with actually now. But hope your week is doing well, no matter which week it is. And looking forward to another fun day. Matt Taylor will join us today from the Colts. Has been a great year for football in the state of Indiana, at least from the perspective of the Hoosiers and the Colts, as both are having an outstanding season as they roll on. Coach Griffith will join me as well here in a little bit. We'll talk some Indiana football. Dustin Schutte as well will join, and talk Purdue as they've got to keep it rolling as well. As hey, they've done as well as could be expected coming off of the 2 years that they have come off of. Barry Odom has done an outstanding job. I mean, to me, he's done a coach of the year kind of job, but that's not going to come close to what Kurt Cignetti is doing again. And I'm going to be hard pressed to imagine Kurt Cignetti does not win back-to-back Coach of the Year awards if he's able to do what he has the Hoosiers on track to do right now, and that is to reach the Big Ten championship game. That would be an achievement of monumental proportions, I guess you would say. That is something Indiana has not done in the modern era. Let's just call it that, the modern era. So college basketball around the corner as well. Man, what do you expect from your Hoosiers? Really? Purdue is number 1 preseason. We know what they have. We know what to expect from the Boilermakers. I have a pretty good indication of what to expect from Michigan. Illinois, big question mark. I know they brought a lot of guys in. Don't know what to expect from them, although I expect they're going to be good. Brad Underwood just does a fantastic job year in and year out. How are your Hoosiers going to be? Not sure. Or if you have another team, how are they going to be? Could be the Louisville Cardinals. They're supposed to be good. Kentucky's supposed to be good. Indiana playing both of those schools this year. That's something to not forget. In this year, Indiana will play Purdue, Louisville, and Kentucky. And they are all good. Very good. Good teams. 5 Dusty Better says, we expect a tournament appearance, no date and no bubble. Well, there you go. Expectations are good to have. We'll see how well those come to fruition. Not to say it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that way. It should. We'll see. Brian says he's slightly concerned about the Michigan State game. Can't let what happened to Penn State happen to IU. Well, if you'll recall, Penn State, they lost in the game before. So they didn't win. So it's a lot easier to not be let down off of a win than a loss. But I get what you're saying, but Indiana has to play the same way every game for the remaining of the season. Whether it's Michigan State or UCLA or Maryland or Wisconsin or Penn State or Purdue for that matter, all 6 of those teams are aiming at the same target that is on Indiana's back. Indiana is the one that has the target on its back now. It's the hunted, no longer the hunter. So they're going to have to continue to play the way they have, to play as if they're the hunter, though. You have to play as if you're behind, as if you're trailing in the game. You have to always play hungry. I think Curt Cignetti talks about that a lot. Well, that's never going to be more needed by an Indiana team than it's going to be for the remainder of this season, because they have the opportunity to do the unthinkable. They have the opportunity to do the undoable. Indiana in the Big Ten championship game, 6 games away for the regular season. So there's a lot of season left. So why there's no point in people like me putting that kind of pressure on. I'm not looking to do that. But I'm just saying, now you have to play a different manner. Now you have to play as if you are the hunter. Are they able to continue to play with that chip on their shoulder? Or what will talk about Curt Cignetti do? Because there's no doubt, as we continue to move forward, and especially if there is continued success for Indiana this season, how loud will the chatter get about Curt Cignetti? Unless and until he puts it to rest. Could that affect this team? I mean, all things are possible. All things are possible. How about those Colts, baby? Rolling along. How about the recruiting for Indiana? That's got to keep. You think a win at Oregon didn't help things? Oh, yeah. Now you've got the next 3 games. And is the Maryland game actually a 5 p.m. game? Is that is that an actual real time that I'm looking at? I mean, that's ahead of out in front of us, I know, but that seems like an odd time. Michigan State scheduled for a 3:30 kickoff. I'm sure Indiana fans will be ready to welcome their team back to Memorial Stadium. They're looking forward to doing some tailgating. Robert, Mr. Schwartz says his expectations for IU basketball. Well, there are already 4 players injured at the end of the bench, so best to keep expectations in check for now. Well, you could have ignored the injuries and just said best to keep expectations in check for now, because of a whole sorts of things. Caleb says that Joe Klatt kind of hinted that IU-UCLA could be a big noon game. Well, yeah, because they're running out of games to use for big noon games for Indiana. Probably a wise thing to do, because after you get past this weekend's home game, you only have 2 remaining. One of those is the UCLA game. So I would not doubt that in the slightest. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Griffith will join us. Hope you're enjoying the day this Thursday game week. back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. How are you doing? Coach Griffith joining us now. How are you, sir?
Good day. Good day.
Yeah, it's always a much better day when you don't have technical issues like we did yesterday.
Yeah, I've been coming out of a little bit of a bug or some type of thing last couple of days.
Don't bring it with you. Don't bring it with you.
Trying to get rid of it. That's the best thing. When my wife
needing that.
Yeah, well, my wife works with little kids, so she brings the germs home.
Kurt Cignetti getting some praise from Nick Saban, which I have. It's funny because whenever I've been able to catch College Game Day, Nick Saban never picks Indiana to win in the games, which I find ironic. But I'm sure that'll be different this week. But apparently last week. Go ahead.
What he said last week was I was really taken back by, because he was on Pat McAfee's Friday show, and he was talking about Indiana's offense and the simplicity that it has with the RPOs and how you defend the RPO versus Indiana. And then at the end of the talking points and stuff, he goes, I know how my boy Dan Lanning is going to play it. I was like, your boy? I know he coached for you, but you got 2 of your former assistants, and you're talking about one in their simplicity, which is fine. But you turn around on at the end of it and call the head coach from Oregon your boy, making it sound like it was a joke that Oregon was going to kick their you-know-what.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because he was an assistant so long ago.
Maybe.
Or maybe his brashness back then could have rubbed him the wrong way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's something there that I don't necessarily maybe he didn't leave on great terms with Nick, and maybe it was because
we're just guessing here.
Oh yeah, we're throwing spitballs at the reason why the slights and struggles.
Maybe there's not. Maybe that's just tough love.
Could be two. Or as what Nick likes to put it, rat poison. Maybe he's now trying to fill the minds in everyone else that, patting him on the back now because of this. I mean, Kurt Herbstreit and literally had them in his top 5 as number 1 in his poll. I mean, there's been a shift in a week's time about Indiana, which is a little chuckle. I get a little chuckle out of because we've been talking about their success and things of that nature that we kind of bang our heads against the wall a little bit, saying, "Where is all this stuff coming from?" They just turn a blind eye to it, like that's Indiana.
Yeah, it's a weird deal, but people don't want people crashing their party because they don't want it to be crashed by just anybody. And they're like, well, if they can crash this party, well, who else can't do it? I'm assuming. But it's that, and it's part of the SEC just kind of being relegated to not being the SEC anymore. And what the SEC is going to have to understand is I don't think that anybody's going to be anything anymore. The Big Ten is what it is, but it's not the SEC. They're different. The SEC does not have as good a teams in it, I think, that the Big Ten does right now. But the Big Ten does not have as many good teams as the SEC has right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
they're just different.
There's never going to be a time when you look at any conference or those two conferences and say that this is, that, because it's different. Like you said, there are different teams throughout the country. One's makeup does not make them better than the next. I mean, that's why you play it on the field. I mean, that's why it comes down to the white lines. We can talk all we want about this and that and try to draw conclusions about a team. And the fact of the matter is, until they play each other, where you get them up against one another, who knows? I mean, if Indiana and Oregon played 10 times in a row, that probably goes 50-50 for each of them. I do think that. What's that?
On a neutral field?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that that's how good Oregon is.
60-40 at least.
Well, what I'm trying to state is that because I've heard this narrative as well, and it happens every time Indiana beats somebody that they don't think should beat. They may not be as good as everyone thought they were, with like Oregon. Like Oregon's a good team. They are a good team. Or Illinois must not have been as good as a 9th ranked team in the country. They just go ahead and beat USC the very next week. So those narratives that they try to find the faults with a team are getting quite old. Is just like you said, the SEC and the Big Ten comparison is quite old in that respect.
Something that I talked about just a second ago that is of grave concern to Indiana fans is, do they have concerns about Curt Cignetti leaving? Because I have to be honest, if I were a school, say like Penn State, and I wanted a new head coach, Curt Cignetti's the guy I'd want. I don't care that he has 8 years left, 10 years left, doesn't matter. I'd take that right now, and I would make one hell of a run at him.
Yeah, the interesting part about that one is the Dr. Kraft, the AD there, is a Indiana grad and actually played football at Indiana.
Football player, yes.
Under Cam Cameron. So there's those, that. But I do think, they're going to take a run at Cignetti. I mean, that's already been probably.
Now they've already spent a boat ton of money, though. They're in the middle of a $700 million renovation of the football facilities. They're going to spend $100 million getting out of Coach Franklin. So now you're at $800 million. Now you're going to look at another $100 million for a new coach. Now you're at $9 billion. You're almost at $1 billion.
Yeah.
Basically, Penn State football is upwards, creeping up to $1 billion in football.
Now
that's a little scary.
I've not got confirmation one way or another on this, but the Adidas, and for some reason I saw an article that talked about Adidas was one entity behind the firing of Franklin, saying that they would take on the buyout money. But I
boy,
do not. I read that in an article on Monday, and again,
I
as
would
you know,
really wonder where that source was, because I would find it highly unlikely for a shoe company to get involved in a coach's ouster or
yeah, I would too. I mean,
so
I
I
don't-
would really, I would really wonder about the source to that.
now whether or not that meant there's somebody from the Penn State alum that's high up within Adidas, I don't know.
Regardless, the Penn
But yeah,
State
that was
okay. So that doesn't even start. Maybe you're talking about the money that they're getting from that deal, because that deal doesn't even start until next summer.
yeah, that's what I
apparently.
thought. But I don't know why that was brought to the table on Monday, and I thought the
Because there's
same
money
thing.
coming in, maybe, but that has no, it would not be a direct thing. Adidas would not do that, because
I
they
can't
have
imagine,
to-
because they got contracts with everybody.
yeah,
Last thing you want is a shoe company telling you how to run your athletic department.
yeah.
But-
I doubt that would be true. So
Well, Penn State's they've got money, of course, because that's
Obviously.
they've got a very rabid fan base. Number one, they've got some big time alums that have deep pockets, so they must feel that they can take on that burden, figuring that they're going to find somebody better than James Franklin to run their program. All that guy has done is won for 12 years. His only fault was that he hasn't won the big one against the big teams. And Kurt Cignetti's doing it the way he's doing it in a 2-year period, has figured into a lot of people making decisions on saying, if he can do that at Indiana, why aren't we doing that here at X school? It's good. And that's going to have a big factor this coaching carousel season, because he's setting up the thing that people are just scratching their head at. But you're correct. They're going to make a run at him. They'll throw big money at him.
but they're not the only one. The name that I'm hearing first and foremost is Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, which
Yeah.
would in turn open up Notre Dame. So you could have Penn State open. You could possibly have Florida job open. And then if Marcus Freeman moved over from Penn State to Penn State, I don't know that he would. I don't know why that he would. Why would one be? Is it more likely to reach the college football playoffs? I don't know why you would make that move.
Well, you got that and Rule and his connection to Penn State's AD.
And I don't get that. I don't see Matt Rule having done much at Nebraska to be worthy. I mean, he wouldn't be my leading candidate to be selected. So, and I don't know who would be the next guy. I'm like, you know what? Usually there are a lot of names that kind of jump out, and right now there just aren't. And I don't know who that would be, but that's not.
Well, you get the standard ones like Campbell at Iowa State. He's usually mentioned in every cycle.
Yeah, he's not going. He's shown he's not going anywhere.
Right. And but with Sig, he's done a great job, and it should be a flattering thing to Indiana fans and such that you've got somebody as hot as Coach Cignetti in the coaching world. That's never happened in that regard to the head coach. Do I think Cignetti leaves? I don't. I really don't. I think he's pretty well set, and in what he said through the last couple of years is that, he's not too far off from calling it quits at some point in time. And I just don't think he's going to chase jobs in that respect. I think Indiana will do something to sweeten the pot with him. What that is, I have no idea. I'm sure they've already, I'm sure Scott Dolson is in contact with his agent as much as other schools are in contact with his agent. But I do think Indiana will try to do everything humanly possible to, keep it going, because they have to. They cannot lose a coach and think that they're going to find the next one to come in and do it. It's just, it's not that easy.
I don't think it would be good for college football for Kurt Cignetti to leave Indiana. Now, that seems maybe disingenuous because I cover Indiana, but it's because I do cover Indiana and I can see what it has done for the program, for the school. It doesn't take me to see it, but for the game. It has been part of this amazing story in college football that makes it all the more fun because we were all sick and tired of Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama. And so now we have a 12-team playoff, and now we're getting we're getting closer to a playoff that is worthy of 12 teams that you don't know who's going to win it.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, we're not there just yet, but we're getting there. We're getting closer and closer to that every day. And that is what you want. That is what makes the basketball tournament so incredible because you don't know who's going to win that thing. I mean, every year there's always great upsets, and we're getting closer to that happening. Until that does, the tournament won't have that kind of cachet. But boy, once these upsets starts happening, and we're probably not that far away that we could see some of that this year.
Yeah, and the thing that I said I think it was the other day, it will Cignetti's job has gotten harder because of the success and the noise that it's created outside the doors there at Memorial Stadium. Not only the win, the top three, and his name being, swung around for anything and everything, of him really testing his ability to keep the main thing. And we're talking about him and jobs, but they play a Michigan State team this Saturday that just can't seem to find the answers right yet. And that's going to be their biggest challenge right now, is to come back after a monumental win and the noise on the outside and everybody telling them how great they are and whether or not they'll be able to perform to the level that they have. Now, I think Coach Cignetti will be able to do those things he always done. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are talking about him and other jobs and not Michigan State, where the last 5 games of this brass platoon.
It's because there are going to be so many jobs, and it's going to be, and a good point just made, the Michigan job will probably open up this year as well. Well, I don't know if it will or not, but I'll tell you right now, it should. Sharon Moore was nothing but a thank you hire. It was a thank you hire for keeping your mouth closed, a thank you hire for deleting the however many number of text messages he deleted involving that cheating scandal. I thank you hire for being Jim Harbaugh's yes man. And he's obviously not the coach that is going to get this job done. But I knew that the minute I saw him when Harbaugh was suspended for a game a year or so ago, and they won a game, and he's out there crying and saying the F word during the post-game interview.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is wrong with this clown? He's a clown. He's not a head coach. So there's another job that's probably, now you're looking at potentially Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame, if Marcus Freeman were to go to one of these other places, Florida. And I don't know what else, if there's something else out there that may be open. So a lot of potential jobs that might be coming open this year, which actually I think makes it better because that waters down the pool a little bit, and there's going to be lot more guys moving. I don't think Florida State job comes open. I think that they're bouncing. We'll see. I just think there's going to be a lot of big time major jobs come open after this season.
Well, last year was very unique. There was very little in the job market when it came to head coaches. So it's only logical that this year is going to be a little bit more involved in terms of possible openings and stuff. And, some of these lower tier jobs as well may lure a Brian Haynes, or a Mike Shanahan because of the success of the 2 coordinators that they've had. I mean, it is going to be a flattering scenario with who is going to come knocking at the door, just not for Sig, but for potentially the two coordinators to be head coaches at, an Oregon State, let's say, or, one of those other type of schools. We'll see. But
yeah, definitely. There's no doubt about that. That is a great point, because I think Brian Haynes is already probably on a lot of people's short list.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, you never know, filling one of these jobs, although they haven't been head coaches yet. And that could be a very, very important part of anybody that is doing any hiring. But that's the toughest part of success. Keeping the band together, man. Keeping the band together.
It's tough.
It absolutely is tough. Hey, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Dustin Schutte's going to join the conversation. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages. Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
You know him, you love him. Can't live without him. Dustin Schutte has arrived. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Jim. How are you?
Every time I play that, I can just see you riding in on it. I've got to get a little picture of you riding on a little train with a little train engineer cap.
Yes.
Kind of like we do for K-Bro, not like that, but K-Bro has got his own little his own special caption there.
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect for K-Bro.
Yes, very, very nice. Dustin Schutte joining us now from Purdue SI, and man, things going better for Purdue, just not completely around there, but boy, oh boy, it's night and day between a year ago for that program right now.
Yeah, it is. And I think you saw some good things even in a loss to Minnesota. But the bottom line is the team still hasn't produced a Big Ten win. Their last conference win, Jim, was 2023, that old Oak and Bucket game against Indiana. So at some point, and the coaching staff has said this, you have to put improvement in the rear view mirror. You can't keep talking about it. You're going to have to win a football game. And I thought coming into this month,
victories, baby, no more.
That's victories. Right. That's exactly right. And, I thought coming into this month, they would have a great chance to beat Northwestern. I said, I thought they could win anywhere between 1 and 4 of these games. They were super close, obviously last week. And now this is maybe I thought Northwestern would be a surefire win, but Jim, they're 4-2 and just coming off a win against Penn State. So
at Penn State to shock the world, which was more shocking, UCLA beating Penn State at the time when that happened, or Northwestern going to Penn State and beating Penn State?
I think maybe Northwestern, because they had to go on the road. Like, you would think Penn State would have the comfort of their.
It is, but I think that at the moment when I'm seeing UCLA is going to beat Penn State, I was so shocked that I'm like, wait, what? But yeah, they may be just as equal. I'm just as shocked, I think, by Northwestern going in and beating them. But Northwestern, yeah, they're fighting, man. They're, as you said, 4-2. They've got to pile some wins up to get to a bowl game.
Yeah. They just need 2 more, and I think they have a decent chance to do that, especially if Northwestern gets a win over Purdue this weekend. They had a really ugly loss in their first week to Tulane, which is a good football team. And then, look, I mean, I know Indiana just dominated that game against Oregon. I think the final score was probably not even indicative of how well IU played, but Northwestern was a team that many thought would be at the bottom of the Big Ten, and I thought they held their own against Oregon. I think it was 34-14 or something. It wasn't a blowout. I think this is a better team than people had expected. So Purdue having to go on the road, they are coming off of a heartbreaking loss, a game that they should have won. They were up 20-13 heading into the fourth quarter before 14 points in 7 seconds for the Golden Gophers. So this is going to be really interesting. I thought coming into this, like I said, when we turned the calendar to October, I looked and thought, okay, well, at least Purdue's going to get a win over Northwestern and maybe get some momentum. I'm not so sure about that. There's a chance that they could end this month winless. And how devastating would that be? Because in the month of November, then, Jim, they have to go on the road and play Michigan. They host Ohio State. They travel to Washington. Washington's a really good team, too. And then they end the year, obviously, with the Old Oak and Bucket game against Indiana. So my thought about Purdue having 5 wins when they played Indiana at the end of the season, I think that's out the window now.
Well, I thought that too, very, very possibly. I really did, because the growth that they had made, and it's still not that they haven't made growth. It's just other teams are now better than I was thinking that they may be. Northwestern, that's a huge win. I don't care what anybody says. That's still going into Penn State and getting that win is just gigantic. I know that they were just humiliated after what had happened, but 3 losses in a row. Who would have ever thunk that for Penn State? But crazy. And you mentioned Washington. Yeah, they've got a great offense that is a dangerous team. So I agree with you. I thought that Purdue would have a shot at getting to 6 games. I didn't think that they would get there, because I thought that the 6th game would at best would be against Indiana, but I'm not quite sure that that's going to make it to that point. But just to be in that position after what they went through last year, probably pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting embarrassed every week, right? Like, they've been competitive. Their defense has really struggled. Their secondary, they played a lot better against Minnesota, but their secondary for the most part has been porous, to put that politely. They've given up a lot of big plays. In that Illinois game, Jim, they gave up 8 plays for a total of 300 yards. Do the math on that. That's somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 yards per play. So they did play better. They've made some improvement, but I think what you're seeing is that this is still a team that has a long way to go. And even though they've got a completely new roster, it's still not quite up to the caliber what it takes to win games consistently in the Big Ten. Well, I should say win games in the Big Ten, because right now they're still sitting on an offer. They're 0-3 and have lost their last 12 Big Ten games. So they're in desperate need of a win, and maybe if they get one against Northwestern, we see a little bit of momentum, and maybe they'll start playing a little bit better. But it's they're going to have to get something going here, because, like I said, once that calendar turns to November, it's going to be tough.
Well, and another thing that happens is once you get to a point to where you see that a bowl game is out of reach, then you have to worry about losing a team per se, when they know that there's nothing to play for. Right. And you've gritted and you fought all the year, but when you don't have a chance for anything, boy, it's hard to get fired up to go out and play for whatever the reason.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the one, I don't know if silver lining's the right term, but you'll know what I'm talking about here. is the fact that even if they don't have a bowl game to play for, they will have opportunities to kind of prove themselves or make a splash. And so maybe that provides them some motivation. Like I said, they're going to play against Michigan, who may or may not be ranked. They'll play against Ohio State, who will probably still be ranked number 1 in the country. And then they'll play an Indiana team that they want to, would want to upset. So I'm not saying they're going to win any of those games. What I'm saying is at least they'll have, I think, some level of motivation to try to prove themselves in those games. So I don't know that they'll ever throw it in. But you're correct. You wonder about the motivation level if you get to 7 losses. And if you're 2-6 at the end of this month, you're staring at a 2-10 season right in the face. So I think that these next 2 weeks are critically important because if not, again, you would have improved your win total from last year, but by 1 game. And that's even though Purdue fans didn't have high expectations for this season, I think obviously a 2-win year would be disappointing to say the least.
Yeah, but the eye test is huge, and judging by the eye test does not show that. And I think that matters a lot. At the end of the day, though, you are what your record says you are. And I get that. So fans, that only means so much to fans. Yeah. Looking better, that's great and all, but show it to me on the scoreboard. So he'll get a year for that. I mean, just with that kind of improvement, and then the following season, you're going to have to be one of those teams. But that's something that I've talked about within this conference. This conference has right now, to me, you've got 2 teams that are at the top in Indiana and Ohio State. And that has been changed from week to week. Originally it was Penn State was part of that. Boom, they're out. Oregon, not in the upper crowd at the moment for me, but they're just off of that in that second tier. But is there another team that's in that second tier from the Big Ten? I don't know that Northwestern is. I don't know that Illinois is, nor Michigan. So that's the difference between right now the SEC and the Big Ten. And so the Big Ten, you've got all these teams, whether it's Purdue or Wisconsin or Penn State or Michigan State, Illinois, for Washington, Nebraska, that have to get better. They've got to be better. They've got to shore up the Big Ten Conference, because otherwise, I'll be honest with you, a conference like the Big 12 is deeper than, say, the Big Ten is right now, just by looking at, where is their standings. Trying to get down to that. Roll on, man. Roll on. Just skipped right by it somehow. I don't know but go ahead.
I was going to try to fill some space here by saying, I think that, and now I'm trying to pull up the standings, but I honestly think, Jim, that if there's going to be a third team in that top tier with Indiana and Ohio State, which, by the way, I would right now put Indiana above Ohio State. I think they're probably right now they've got the best wins. I would put them as the number 1 team in the conference. But I think
in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I think you would probably also put Miami in that conversation just because of the caliber of wins. But it's those 2 teams to me right now are the top 2. Washington, I think, is a team that their only loss is Ohio State. It wasn't a total. It was 24-6. So they played fairly well that game. And then you look at the rest of their schedule. They go to Michigan, which Michigan is vulnerable. They'll host Illinois. They'll play Wisconsin, Purdue, UCLA, and then they end the season with Oregon. There's a really good chance, Jim, and I don't want to put the cart before the horse here. There's a chance Washington's 11-1 at the end of the year, and they're fighting for a playoff spot.
There's a chance that Nebraska goes 11-1 because of their really, really weak schedule. Now,
that's a good point.
Would be backing into the CFP because Nebraska plays no one of substance. And I'll be honest with you, the Big 12 has strong a little bit deeper. You've got BYU, Texas Tech, the Cincinnati Bearcats with Brendan Sorsby, the former IU quarterback, who's lighting it up, and the Utah Utes, who are playing extraordinarily well. And that doesn't include Arizona State, who made the CFP last year. So to be honest with you, I think the Big 12 is a little bit better in the middle. I think their middle is better than the Big 10's, but we don't know that. We don't know because we're guessing at these teams until they play. Who would have thought that Michigan was going to beat Alabama in the bowl game last year and all of that? So that's why they play these games. Maybe the Big 10's middle is better than the SEC's, and we're just misjudging it because things have been misjudged so much. Not many people gave Indiana a chance to go out to Oregon and beat Oregon. And they didn't just win that game, like you said. They dominated. They were pretty dominant in that game. Oregon's a team that gave up only 1 sack all season. Indiana had 6. And if you take the 2 games against the 2 top 10 teams they played, 13 sacks in those 2 games. 13 sacks against 2 top 10 teams. That's pretty good.
And I would say too, like, to your point on that, everybody was talking about the Indiana offense with Fernando Mendoza, and obviously they've been very good, but I think you could make the argument that the strength of the team is the defense. And who would have thought that coming into the season? So it's been fascinating to watch because I fell victim to it too. I thought Indiana would take a step back, and by step back, I mean I thought they would go 9-3 or 10-2. So, but they look like they're better than they were last year. And tell me where they're going to lose a game on the schedule. Like you're talking about going from 11-1 to 12-0. I'm not saying they're going to win the national championship, but they're going to put themselves in a really, really good spot.
USC is also a team that really it's time to get it going, man. Yeah. I know that they haven't been in the Big Ten very long, but doesn't matter. They've been USC for quite a while. So get back to being USC. Nebraska, we've been waiting on them forever to be Nebraska again.
A decade,
Yeah, and so I'm not sure when or if that's going to happen. But these are the kinds of teams that have to get better if the Big Ten is going to maintain being being the best conference out there along with the SEC. Not that I don't think that they're always going to have somebody at the top, probably so. But hey, what happens in one of those years where they don't? That's why the Big Ten is bucking so hard for these 4 auto bids. So no matter what, they can get their guys into the playoffs.
And this might be the situation, Jim, where there's not, and I understand why the Big Ten wants 4 auto bids, but this to me is like college basketball. I want one conference. I want each conference to get 1 auto bid. Now here's the problem with that is that you're going to leave it up then to executives who tend to have a favoritism towards the SEC. So when that happens, the SEC is going to get more teams into the playoff more often than not. And so I think that's the Big Ten's answer to that. The response is, hey, give us 4 auto bids. But like this year, I don't know that there's not a 4th team that I think you would put in there. Is there? Like right now, I think you could make the argument for Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana, obviously. But
no, because
like outside of that, maybe Washington, maybe Nebraska gets in there. But there's not a hard line.
Is the team that's ranked right now, but
USC,
and then Nebraska, but then look at this is USC's remaining schedule. Oh my gosh, it's murderer's row. Okay, they have to go to first of all, they have to go to Notre Dame this Saturday. Then they go to Nebraska. They play Northwestern. Then they play Iowa. Then they are at Oregon. So those 3 games, then they play UCLA, who is a much better team. But those 3, Notre Dame, Nebraska, Oregon alone, those 3 games, holy smokes, that's a tough row to hoe.
The only game they've won outside of Los Angeles in the Big Ten, because they beat UCLA, technically at UCLA, but they're still in the same city, was against Purdue. And they didn't play particularly well. That's the only road game they've won since the only game outside of LA. I'll get this correct. The only game outside of LA they've won in the Big Ten. So I think they're going to lose this weekend to Notre Dame. I think there's a really good chance that Nebraska beats them in a couple of weeks. And then Oregon, they don't have to travel as far, but I think that's another tough one. So yeah, I think you're looking at USC potentially finishing 8-4 this season.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. And then if you look at Nebraska, for them to have a shot. Their remaining schedule is they go to Minnesota, they play Northwestern, USC. There's a game between those two, UCLA, at Penn State, and Iowa. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, you're going to have to, for either one of those teams to make it to the CFP, they're going to have to go 11-1, I think, with that schedule. And and for them to do that, they're going to win some decent games to get there. So they will probably be deserving to get it. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it would be a step down. Last year it was all the talk about the Big Ten because of Indiana being that fourth team, and it kind of knocking, and the SEC only got 3. This year the SEC is going to get 5 teams in. Man, they just need to chill. It's cyclical, man. It's cyclical.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, they're in really good shape. They had a lot of teams ranked in the preseason poll, which I think obviously helps them out quite a bit. But yeah, this year for the Big Ten. We'll see at the end of the season. Maybe some of these teams that you mentioned will finish with 11-1 records, and we're talking about four Big Ten teams getting in. I just don't think that's the case right now. I think there's 3 that you could probably pen in, and then who would be that 4th team. And I think there's a chance, but there's also a chance that all those teams we just talked about finish 9-3 and are on the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think that's going to probably most likely be the case when that time comes. And it's just going to be like it was last year, what the SEC was dealing with. But it'll be funny how when the shoe's on the other foot, I'll be the first one to say, hey, there's not a 4th deserving team. But at the same time, these SEC teams that are looked at to be so deserving, are they? Are they? How good are they?
Yeah,
we don't really know. It's all because people are thinking that this is where they should be placed. When then they play a game, and you're like, oh wow, well maybe they're not that good.
Well, and the problem is like I don't remember the number, but I think 8 or 9 of them were ranked in the preseason poll. So then that automatically gives them the benefit of the doubt. So some of those teams that have 2 losses are ranked when they shouldn't be. I think every 2-loss SEC team, I'd have to go back and look at this. There was a stat out there, but basically a couple 2-loss SEC teams were ranked. There are no 2-loss Big Ten teams that are ranked. And it's all because those teams in the SEC were ranked in the preseason poll and those Big Ten teams were not.
And while the AP poll has nothing to do with the College Football Playoff Committee poll, there's no way I think that it doesn't seep in somehow. Right. Just because when you see that every week and you see that every week and you see that every week, it does. It's like Texas. We were getting pounded with Texas being, man, Texas. Oh, look at that. Oh, my goodness. Oh, whoops. Oops. Texas, what happened to them? Exactly. They're not good. Right. They're not. They're average at best. They're just an average football team. So stop with all of that. And so there you go.
Right. Yeah. And to that point, I would say, look at what, again, Indiana last year, look at how far they had to climb. Now, there was no reason to rank them in the preseason top 25 in 2024. They were coming off a terrible season. Nobody knew what to expect. But if they'd started at 20th, they would have been in no problem at 11-1. But because they had so far to climb, it was up until the very last minute. People were kind of biting their nails to see if they would have gotten a bid. And you just don't see that with SEC teams, a majority of the SEC teams.
Absolutely. Dustin Schutte from Purdue SI with us. And where can they find you, by the way, quickly?
You can find all my work at si.com/college/Purdue, or you can follow me on Twitter/X at Schutte Dustin.
Easy to follow. Back with more on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouth-watering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, here on this Thursday. Jim Coyle with you as always. Dustin Schutte from Purdue SI. I'm looking at the college pick'ems that we put up on the ESPN fantasy tab, Dustin, and twice now I just noticed. I did it again last week. Indiana was I was, I guess, because I was traveling, didn't put my picks in, so I was already effectively done. Now I'm officially.
Not the best year for Jim Coyle on the ESPN pick'em, huh?
It wasn't going well either way, but maybe this was the best just to put me out of my misery on that, because not going well, but that's okay. A lot of great games this weekend coming up, man. And no matter where, if you're a Big Ten fan or whatever the case may be, plenty of always. We're deep into the season now, man. And there's even games on Thursday night, of course, not anything of substance, I guess. Florida International, Western Kentucky. Oh, that already happened. What am I thinking?
Well, let me tell you the game that Indiana fans should keep an eye on, and it involves an old nemesis. The Louisville Fighting Jeff Brahms head down to Miami, and
oh my goodness.
Louisville 4-1, Miami obviously undefeated.
It says college football playoff implications right here.
It does, and Jeff Brom has been known to upset. Now he usually has a few games where you're like scratching your head and like, what the hell happened? But
like losing at home to Virginia.
Yeah, correct. But he has proven, like, there were he beat a second-ranked Iowa, third-ranked Michigan State, second-ranked Ohio State. He beat quite a few ranked teams when he was at Purdue. I don't know what his record is at Louisville. But that if Louisville beats Miami, and assuming Indiana beats Michigan State, which I'm have 99% confidence that they will, you're talking about then Indiana moving up another spot to number 2 in the rankings.
Yeah, I don't know that I think Louisville's going to go to Miami and win that game, although I agree with everything you've said. I mean, if this were another year, but Louisville is just not quite shown to me to have that killer instinct. Losing that game at home to Virginia, although Virginia's a decent team. They're a 13.5-point underdog down under there at the southern part of Florida. So yeah, I just don't see them getting that done. Miami has looked pretty good, and this will probably lock them in at number 2 spot if they get a win over a decent Louisville team.
Yeah. I think so. But yeah, and that game's on Friday night, so Indiana fans can watch that on Friday and then not have to miss or worry about interfering with the game Saturday. So that's just one that popped out to me.
No, it's a big one though. It has like I said, college football playoff implications, because if Louisville were to win that game, then now you're looking at Louisville having a say in the college football playoffs.
And for sure. And the other reason I mentioned that's because Ohio State, really, you look at their schedule, they don't really probably have a chance of losing a game until the end of the season when they play Michigan. And the only reason I say that's because Ryan Day has really struggled the last few years against Michigan. But you look at their schedule: Wisconsin, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. So they're going to be 11-0 at the end of the season. So they're probably locked into that number one spot for the remainder of the season. So that if Indiana wants to move up, that game against, or the Louisville Miami game is probably the best chance they're going to have, at least right now.
LSU goes to Vanderbilt. You know what? Vanderbilt is just, we'll see. LSU, are they really a top 10 team? This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is LSU really a top 10 team? Well, and do we find out when they go to Vanderbilt? I don't know. I think these are pretty good teams, but
isn't this? Think about this, Jim.
What is the top 10 team anymore?
Right. Think about this. We're talking about, this is just crazy and how much college football has changed. We're talking about LSU having to go to Vanderbilt and prove itself. And we're talking about Indiana potentially finishing the season 12-0. Like, I would have bet my entire life savings. I would have put everything on. We would never hear those two teams in the college football playoff hunt at the same time in my lifetime. And yet here we are. But this is what happens. Like when you have NIL in the transfer portal, it levels out the playing field. And then obviously a Hall of Fame level coach in Curt Cignetti, it levels out the playing field. There's been a lot of factors involved here. And so it's crazy. But to your point, and now that I'm rambling on here, LSU plays Vanderbilt, then they play number 4 Texas A&M, then number 6 Alabama. So we'll find out quite a bit about LSU here in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, and then you've got, speaking of the ACC, Georgia Tech, number 12 Georgia Tech goes to Duke. Duke is not just some slouch. That's going to be a probably a tough win or a tough game for them. Washington, we talked about the Huskies earlier. They travel to Michigan. Sharon Moore, there's a test. Not only do you, and I'm kind of tired of talking about flying across the country thing. Indiana and Curt Cignetti have shown that, you know what, this is how you do it. And so I'm not going to, you either learn how to deal with it or you don't. And so I remember Vanderbilt traveled to Hawaii and beat the snot out of Hawaii a couple years ago. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm tired of talking about the travel. So Washington traveling to Michigan, hey, deal with it and go in there and get the win. If you want to be somebody, go in there and beat Michigan. Michigan's an average team that has a good quarterback, but not a lot around him. Michigan is 6.5-point favorite there. Some of the other games, Josh Hoover and TCU hosting Baylor. Let's see. I'm looking for some of these ranked teams. Of course, they don't have the rankings in very big numbers for us old people.
We got Tennessee at Alabama this weekend. Number 11 Tennessee, 6 Alabama. Yeah. That should be a good one.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of a determiner for both teams. Tennessee kind of on the outside looking in right now. Mm-hmm. They need this win. If they lose, it's going to kind of push them further away, and it will further solidify Alabama as one of the SEC's better teams.
I agree. And look how far Alabama's come since that loss to Florida State. I mean, now they're right back in the hunt, and they just beat, I mean, they've got a win over Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri. They've played, their last 4 games have been against ranked opponents, and they've won all of them. So this could make it 5 straight. Good job by Kalen DeBoer to kind of get things back on the right path after getting embarrassed down in Tallahassee to start the season.
Yeah, Oregon has to travel. You'll talk about travel, bro. Oregon has to travel all the way across the country to Rutgers, to Piscataway, New Jersey, to take on the Scarlet Knights of Oregon, or Rutgers rather, and who's a decent team, but Oregon smarting from that loss. How do they respond, I wonder?
Yeah, did you see Dan Lanning's press conference?
No, not the post.
Okay. No, this was I don't remember what day it was, but basically somebody was asking him a question about the Indiana game, and he got a little snippy. He said, the Indiana game, we're playing Rutgers this week. But it was a question about, like, how do you improve from a certain aspect of the game? I don't remember the exact question, but that loss sat with him. So I think Oregon's going to come out fired up for that game, but it'll be interesting. And Rutgers really isn't. They're okay. They're not really that good. I don't think they're going to put up much of a fight. It'll probably be similar to that Northwestern Oregon game where Oregon wins like 34-14 or something. would be my guess. But I think they're going to have plenty of incentive after being that. They weren't embarrassed on their home field, but that certainly wasn't what they had expected.
Kind of embarrassed a little bit. Little bit.
You'll say it. You'll say it.
A little bit. Dan Lanning, what I love about Dan Lanning. He's always, you can tell he's a very, very nice guy, but he's also one of those guys that he's short. He's on a short fuse.
He's like a firecracker. Yep.
Oh boy, he's like bam. You can set him off in a quick moment without question. And he's an emotional guy. And so I guarantee you that loss, he took it hard. He was 22-1 at Oregon, man. And so, all that talk, trust me, these coaches love this talk. Don't think that they don't. Don't think that they don't know that this stuff's going on, whether it's Cignetti or Dan Lanning. They know. And there's that now. There's that little bit of competitive juices flowing not between them per se, but without there having to be a competition, there was the competition within the competition.
Right. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Dan Lanning had lost a home game. I think that was his first home loss. I believe that's correct. I should look things up before they spew them on the radio as if I am all knowing, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. That was his first home loss.
I believe that is to be the case, but I don't know if that 22-1 mark was him at Oregon or him at home at Oregon.
That's a good point. I don't know either.
Because he's been there for how long? 4 years now?
I think that's correct. Yeah.
I think he had one home loss prior to that. I don't know who it was.
So Andy looks like he chimed in and said first Big Ten home loss, which maybe that's what I was thinking of.
There you go. Either way, it was an L, and he didn't like it. Didn't like it. Didn't like it. Didn't like it a lot.
Didn't like it.
Did not like it at all. Of course, we've talked about Texas A&M quietly going about their business. Now, they could be the best team in the SEC.
They could be. Yeah, Mike Elko's done a really good job with them. Yeah.
You've got Ole Miss.
I don't think I've watched a Texas A&M game outside of the Notre Dame game. But they are very good. I know that.
Ole Miss at Georgia, baby.
Ooh, there we go. At Georgia.
At Georgia, between the hedges. That's going to be that's an important game.
Yeah.
This is going to go a long way in determining one of the SEC champions here, who plays in the SEC championship. And Lane Kiffin against Kirby Smart. Whoo. Man, it's Ole Miss has been really good, but they've had some close wins at home. So I'm wondering how they fare on the road there between the hedges.
Yeah, that game against Washington State was not his best performance. I mean, the LSU game you kind of understand, right? 24-19, good
Washington
LSU
State
team.
Is not good either.
No, Washington State is 500. But that's what Lane Kiffin does. He tends to, he's very SEC. I refer to him kind of as SEC Jeff Brom. He'll win you he'll win you some big games. But then there's a few throughout the season where you're scratching your head like, just what happened? What happened here? And I think Washington, now they were able to win. So that's the positive. But I think Washington State was one of those. I have my doubts that they can go into Georgia and win. But if they do, and here's what's going to be frustrating, Jim. Do you think, let's play the theoretical game here. We'll get a few minutes left. Do you think if Ole Miss, ranked number 5 in the country, 6-0, and beats number 9 Georgia at home, would the AP poll voters leapfrog Ole Miss over Indiana?
No, not with Indiana's wins.
I tend to agree with you, but I also am not trusting of the AP voters.
Well,
I feel like I think you're correct, but I think there is a talking point because they had such a reluctance to move Indiana up for such a long time.
Oh, there's no doubt about that because it's the new kid on the block. There were 3 voters that had Indiana with number 1 votes.
Mm-hmm. I probably would have been one of them considering their win. Well, again, I think Miami because of the wins they have, but yes.
Okay. They beat
1 or 2.
Notre Dame and who did else?
Not Texas A&M. Hold on. I got to pull this up now. Now I got to do my research, Jim.
I think that I agree. I just don't know that who is Ohio State beaten. I mean, they've got some decent wins, but they don't have any good wins. I mean,
the one against
Texas doesn't mean diddly anymore.
I was just going to say, yep.
Beating Washington was a solid win, but I don't think that they've been worthy of being number one. Now they are the reigning champion, and you are the king until someone just dethrones you. I understand.
Right. Well, I mean, I guess so. They've beaten Notre Dame. They beat South Florida, who is they were ranked at the time. They beat Florida, handled Florida, and then they beat Florida State on the road, ranked at the time. So right now, I guess the wins don't look as good as I had previously thought. But and they really I don't think they play another ranked team right now this season. So you could be right. But either way, I mean, I think you could probably order 1, 2, 3, however you want it, and I'm not going to argue with it.
I think that you are exactly correct because there's nothing proven. Ohio State is being given the number one spot because they are the incumbent king, and you have to dethrone the king, I guess. But I don't know that is the case, to be honest with you.
I don't either.
Miami has looked good from the word go and just gotten better. Indiana, I think Indiana has a better defense and as
then
good,
who?
A better offense. Anybody.
Oh, I would not put their offense probably yes. I would not put their defense ahead of Ohio State.
Ohio State has an incredible defense. I will agree with you there, and you might be correct. But it's hard to argue, though. 13 sacks against 2 top 10 teams.
No, I agree. Yep.
What the points allowed in those games. But then again, you're looking at Ohio State's defense against who they've played. So,
right. No, that's fair. They have not.
But I agree with you, too. It's hard to argue it either way. I could argue it either way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, until Saturday. But I mean, to your point, Illinois is probably the best team they played, and Illinois scored 16. And since before then, they had only given up 26 points all season. So, we'll see. But again, how good are they going to be? Because
Indiana allowed.
That's true. That's a very good point. Yep. Good point. I think I would take Indiana's offense above Ohio State's. I think I would still take Ohio State's defense over Indiana's. But I think it's closer than what most people would recognize.
I think it's going to be fun if all plays out and we get to the Big Ten championship game, and it ends up being the game in Indianapolis, baby.
And in the basketball team playing Louisville that same day.
Oh my goodness!
In Gainbridge.
Yes, it would be an absolute wipeout of Indianapolis, the state. What's up next for you, brother?
Oh man, just following the Purdue football, and then next Friday headed down to. I'm assuming if I get approval, heading down to Lexington for the Purdue Kentucky exhibition game.
Why would you not get approval? Of course.
You never know with these things, Jim. You never know.
Purdue, Kentucky. That's something we're going to have to talk about next week, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that for sure. That'll be fun. Even though it's an exhibition game, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Mark Pope has got his Kentucky squad ready. Kentucky or Louisville, Indiana, Kentucky, and Purdue all playing each other in this year. I mean, Indiana plays all 3 of those teams. I mentioned that earlier. Tough schedule for the Hoosiers this year.
Yes.
But make sure you're giving Dustin a follow at Schutte Dustin on Twitter. And again,
si.com/college/Purdue. Yeah.
Yeah. That's you're going to start putting that up underneath your name. That's too much for me to remember to say.
Or you can type in Purdue Boilermakers on SI on Google. It'll pop right up.
There you go. Appreciate you, my friend, as always.
All right. Thanks, Jim. Have a good week.
Hey, you're welcome to stick around. Matt Taylor joins us next from the Colts. We're just going to talk some football. You don't have to go anywhere. It's just always dependent upon your schedule. Dustin might be with us. He might not. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We're back with it right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC. Local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday, and that means a visit from our good friend Matt Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts, the number 1 team in the NFL right now, baby. Matthew, how are you, sir?
I am great. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be Matt Taylor, man.
Oh, hell. Well, I appreciate you, man. It's good right now being a part of this Colts team, this Colts organization. They're rolling, like you said, man. Life is good here.
I'm telling you, it has been one of the, I hate to call them one of the surprises of the NFL, because there's a surprise every year, and doesn't matter what level we're talking about. Somebody has got to be that team that shows up, and right now it's the Indianapolis Colts, man. They're taking no prisoners and just running roughshod through this season thus far.
Well, I think I agree with you. I understand why people think that the Colts are a surprise. I really do, right? I understand it. But I think if you're around it every day and you have a little bit of a history lesson with the core of this team that's been together for quite some time, and you kind of surround some context around that, it's not a surprise. And what I'm getting at is that, this has been a very well-built team for a long time, but they just haven't had stability at quarterback. And, you hate to say it's all about one guy in one position, but we all know how important that position is. It's the most important position in sports. It's the hardest position in sports. And the Colts have been trying to get that right for a little bit of some time here now. But, you look at the core of this team. You've got DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart and Zaire Franklin and Kenny Moore. And then on the other offensive side of the ball, you're doing it with the same guys that you've done it with the last couple of years. And Michael Pittman and Josh Downs and Alec Pierce and Jonathan Taylor and Quentin Nelson and Bernard Ryman and Braden Smith. What's the one big difference? It's the quarterback, right? And so the Colts have missed the playoffs 4 years in a row, but in 3 of those 4 years, they've won at least 8 games. And it's because the roster around the quarterback has been too good for it to bottom out, right? The roster around the quarterback's been too solid to go, 4-12 or 2-14, right? So it's amazing what one guy can do. And I'm not disparaging anything that's happened here in the past, but certainly Daniel Jones deserves a lot of credit for this. Shane Steichen deserves a lot of credit for this. And the guys around Daniel Jones deserve a lot of credit for this, because they're helping him succeed just like he's helping them succeed. And it's a lot of fun right now. And, quarterback is it's important, but, everybody else is doing their job to help Daniel Jones feel really comfortable. And boy, oh boy, does he look comfortable, playing comfortable, still top 10 in passing and completion percentage and yards per attempt. It's just going It's going better than I think a lot of people thought and hoped for, which is why I think a lot of people still hold this Colts team, and regarded as a surprise so far through the first 6 games of the season.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, because it's just kind of like Indiana. If you're covering it and you're aware of who's what and what is going on, you're not surprised as much by their success right now as say the national pundits are.
Let me give you one more just to drive home the point. And I think I may have talked about this, but again, this is not to disparage anything from years past, but last year Anthony Richardson was the team's primary quarterback, right? And he was sub 50% completion percentage. He was at 47% completion percentage for the year. So last year Anthony Richardson became the first quarterback in the NFL since 2011 to complete less than half of his passes, but win more than half of his starts. So that just tells me, that stat tells me that the roster around him is just too good for it to bottom out. The roster is still competitive, even with the amount of inconsistencies they've had at that position the last couple of years. And so now you've got the good core nucleus of the roster still here, coupled with, I'm not even going to say good quarterback play, I'm going to say marvelous quarterback play, and you're seeing what it's led to, and it's a 5-1 start.
Well, I mean, I don't want to use Tom Brady as an example, but look what happened when he went to Tampa Bay. I mean, a good quarterback. He's not just a great player. It's the guy who's guiding your team mentally, as well as offensively. He's like having your coach out there. I know the defense has that with the linebacker per se, but it kind of starts and ends with the quarterback. They're setting the tone for the games. They're setting the tones for how the offense is success it is having. But that's probably part of the surprise about this Colts team. It's not that they've gone 5-1. It's how they've gone 5-1.
Yeah.
Just blown teams out. They're putting up more points than it's ever been put up, and that is including those teams of the great Peyton Manning, who we just looked at as a scoring machine and a touchdown scoring machine. To see records by the wayside, you're like, wow, this is incredible stuff.
No, without a doubt. I think you make such a good point right there. It's not just the fact that the Colts are 5-1 and they've won every game by, 1-score margins. They've won a couple of games by 3 points and 4 points. No, they've got 3 wins on the season over 20. They are the only team in the NFL that can say that. But they also have 2 other wins that they've had to fight and scratch and claw because of the different set of circumstances. I mean, case in point, last week's game against the Cardinals, they win 31-27. They're down some key players on defense. Some freak things happen before the game in pregame warmups. Their best corner goes out with a concussion. He gets run into by a teammate on the field during the pregame period. And so the game plan has just completely changed, and it's next man up, and guys are thrown into different roles. And that's just life in the NFL, man. Everybody's getting paid the same, right? I mean, there is a salary cap. There are rules in place. Every team can spend only so much money. And so that's led to just so much parity in the NFL. And so it's more often than not that, these games are going to come down to the 4 minutes and be 1-score games. So the Colts have shown they can blow the doors off of bad teams, and they can find ways to be clutch in clutch moments in the fourth quarter in games that come down to the wire, which is the norm in the NFL. So it's really exciting the way that they're playing right now. And again, to give you another nerdy stat, the Colts have been so efficient on offense. They're doing such a great job of converting in situational football, third down and red zone. They're 10 for their last 10, scoring touchdowns inside the red zone. I mean, that's just unheard of in terms of efficiency in the National Football League. They don't punt. They don't give the football away. They're tied for first in fewest sacks allowed. They've only allowed 5 sacks on the season. But the craziest thing is that they're plus 78 on the season. Their scoring margin is plus 78. The Colts last year finished minus 50. I mean, think about that drastic of a turnaround, and they're doing it with a quarterback that's been here only since March and wasn't named the starting quarterback until the end of August. And no one would have predicted that part of it, even me, right? Even the most optimistic Colts fans would not have predicted that part of it. And so that, I think, is the biggest surprise and the biggest, pleasant part of this 5-1 start, is that not only are you 5-1 and you've built up a good little, I don't want to use the word cushion, but you've got some margin for error the rest of the season because of the start you're off to, but it very much looks sustainable the rest of the way based on the amount of talent the Colts have and their execution under Daniel Jones.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
There are rules here. Everybody has to play under the salary cap, Jim.
I
there
knew
are rules
that
here.
That was too long before I'd be able to use that, so I wasted that one. A little Big Lebowski reference. But and not only are they are the Colts 5-1 right now, their schedule lays out for a really good run. Again, we've talked earlier in the year about how it's back-laden with divisional opponents and how the non-divisional opponents, for the most part, are up front, save for the Tennessee Titans, which the second matchup with them is coming up soon already, and so they'll be done with them. But before they even get into divisional play, they're going to be on a roll, man, and have everything going and hopefully be healthy.
Well, that's the best part of it is, you look at the schedule the rest of the way based on how good the Colts are and their level of execution so far. You look at the rest of their schedule and the slate, there's no games on the schedule where you don't say the Colts can't win, right? There's no Kansas City's from 3 years ago on this team, right? There's no 85 Bears on this schedule. Sunday's game against the Chargers is very winnable. Tennessee at home, very winnable now with an interim coach. Atlanta in Germany coming up. And then you hit the bye. The Colts, they have a very decent chance to be undefeated before they get to their bye in week 11. Think about that. Or undefeated, I should say, the rest of the way between now and then. So that's what gives me just a lot of hope, is just the level of execution just seems so sustainable. Now, obviously on defense, they got to figure some things out, right? It's kind of a revolving door at linebacker. It's been a makeshift operation in the back end of the secondary because of injuries, seemingly all season long, dating back to the start of training camp. Charvarius Ward is dealing with a concussion. I don't know about his availability to play on Sunday. Kenny Moore has a chance to come back this week after missing the last 3 weeks with an Achilles. But Jalen Jones is still on IR. Jalen Carlisle, their linebacker, who they thought was going to be a starter at the beginning of the season, he basically hasn't practiced since early August, dealing with another nagging hamstring injury. So they got to get those two parts of the defense figured out. But to their credit, they're still holding teams to less than 20 points per game. They're still getting takeaways, and they're finding a way still under Lou Anarumo to be game specific, and they're making it work. So, they are to be commended for that. But just imagine how good that defense could be if they were playing anything close, at full strength with a full deck of cards.
Boy, that's something I haven't played with for a long time. Full deck of cards.
Yep. You big euchre guy, Jim?
Oh, I understand the game.
Jim, don't take this the wrong way, but you probably get euchre going alone.
You're not lying, brother. I'm probably the only person that could get euchre going alone, man. If I was the only person playing the game,
that's
I would
it.
Probably get it. Hey, how have you enjoyed the college football season so far?
Oh, I've enjoyed it greatly. I love keeping track of, who's playing who and who's winning and what the upcoming matchups are. And took so much pleasure and joy out of that Indiana win against Oregon. Watched the entire game start to finish. We were just talking internally here in the building today, with some IU fans, and we were just kind of kicking this thought around. They beat Oregon by 10, but if you would have told everybody hypothetically on Friday night before the game, if you would have had a crystal ball and told some IU fans, hey, Indiana's going to give up a blown coverage, 44-yard touchdown pass. They're going to throw a pick six in the fourth quarter, and they're going to have about 8 false start penalties. I would have said IU loses the game by 20. Instead, they win by 10. Think about that, right? They still didn't play anywhere near a full, clean game. And I mean, they're already so good, but they can play so much better in terms of the little things that add up to big things. And they're still beating the you know what off of a top 3 team on the road in a really, really tough place to play. I mean, it is so exciting right now. And, they're just a fun team to watch. And I think that's probably the biggest difference for me as a lifelong full-time IU football fan. I've had to recondition myself on how I watch the games. I mean, I told you this last year, watching that level of execution and discipline, in the past, you're just always waiting for the other shoe to drop as an IU fan, right? You're just waiting for the avalanche of mistakes to start happening, especially on the road when you play at Iowa and at Oregon. And it just doesn't happen anymore because they're so well coached and, everybody is so bought in and the talent there is just off the charts. It's just it's a complete 180 viewing and fan experience for us lifelong Hoosier fans that have just waited for Indiana to, quite frankly, flat out just beat itself more often than not.
Yeah, it is great to see Indiana fans get to enjoy the heck out of this, but it's more than just that. And not only that, you may get to see and likely Indiana playing Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, not to put the cart before the horse, at the in December there at Lucas Oil Stadium. That would be
that's going to be
even beyond the magnitude that can't even be comprehended right now.
I think there's a strong possibility of that happening, and I don't think it's too early to talk about that just as fans. But that's going to be awesome, but it's also going to suck at the same time because I'm going to be on the road, right? When the Colts with Lucas Oil Stadium has to be available for a reason. So that means the Colts are on the road the next day, which means I won't be able to go. I won't be in town for it, Jim. It's heartbreaking.
You'll have to watch it on TV like so many others, unfortunately. Man, what is that? December, that is December something, I forget.
December the 6th. We'll be at Jacksonville the next day.
Ooh, 2 big games.
I'll have to leave you a note in the press box, man. I'll keep the seat warm for you.
There you go, man. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy your weekend, brother. And I wishing you a great broadcast as always, and hoping that Colts fans turn down the TV and turn up Matt on the radio.
I appreciate you, Jim. Thanks so much for having me, man. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, sir. Matt Taylor from the Indianapolis Colts joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. We've got plenty more coming up. Glad to have you along with us. Yeah, no one got that Big Lebowski reference there. Smokey, this is not NAM. This is bowling. There are rules. He said that too early on in the conversation. And so I missed out on getting to use that. But looking forward to another fun weekend of football, both college and professional. The Colts, man, let's get them on up to 6-1 as they travel this weekend out to the West Coast to take on the former Colt himself, Jim Harbaugh, and the Los Angeles Chargers. What are the Chargers right now? Are they like 500? No, they're 4-2. They're 4-2. They started the season with a win over the Chiefs, beat the Raiders, beat the Broncos, and beat the Dolphins. Very similar schedule to what the Colts have played, save for the Chiefs so far. The Giants and the Commanders are the 2 teams that they lost to. So hopefully the Colts can just keep on rolling, man. It's been a fun start for football in the state of Indiana, as the Colts are currently leading their division, of course. But I believe they have also played one more game in divisional play than Jacksonville. No, Jacksonville is 4-2. So Indianapolis rather, with a at 5-1. Yeah, they lead their division. And as I look down through, Tampa Bay, the only other 5-1 team in the NFL. How about that? Man, they're definitely heading to the playoffs. Now, as I look down through some of these stats, the AFC South, of which the Colts are a part of, along with Jacksonville and Houston, the Texans. This is the only division that I say for the NFC North that has 3 teams currently on the positive side, except for the NFC West. Now, you want to see something mind-boggling? Okay, they have 3 teams that's on the plus side of a point-scoring differential. The only team that's not is the division-leading San Francisco 49ers. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Then again, there's a 3-way tie for that division at 4-2. 49ers, Seahawks, and the Rams. Hey. Let's take a break. Plenty more coming up. College games this weekend. We'll get some picks. Glad to have you along. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after these messages.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Glad to have you along. Thanks a lot for joining us. As always, looking through some NCAA stats right now. Julian Sayin sitting at the top for completion percentage at 78%. Unbelievable. Just a sophomore. Man, he is one of the reasons why so many people think Ohio State is the best team in the country. But the Big Ten won 3, 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks in the top 14. Even Danny O'Neal is in the top 17, and he is, I think, the backup quarterback for Wisconsin. Are you kidding me? Isn't he the replacement for Billy Edwards Jr., who was the transfer from Maryland that went down? It's crazy how that has gone. Does Fernando lead with passing touchdowns? No. He has been passed up by 1, by 2. Sawyer Robertson from Baylor has 19. Jalen Daniels and Josh Hoover from TCU, both with 18. Fernando Mendoza with 17. Dylan Raiola with 19. Ty Simpson from Alabama, another quarterback that a lot of people are now talking a lot about, of course, because it's Alabama and because they're playing well. It's but it's not just, I mean, he's got 16 passing touchdowns. in 6 games, one less than Fernando Mendoza does. Dante Moore there with 15. Julian Sayin with 15. Joey Aguiar, who transfer from UCLA to Tennessee with 14. How's that working out for UCLA? Although Nico Amalieven has been a big part of their turnaround, I think, because of how the offense has been turned around. But it's going to be interesting to see as these games play out the rest of the year. How does the Heisman race go? Can Fernando win it? Oh, yeah, he can. He definitely can. The good thing is, I believe the Heisman votes are due after the conference championships. Let's hope that to be the case. Let's see, Brendan Sorsby, I just saw his name there as well, where there's Diego Pavia. He's got 14 on the year. Sorsby right there with 14 on the year. How about a year he's having, man? They're one loss away from being firmly in the college football playoff talk as well. And I'm telling you, it's going to be tougher to get to the college football playoffs from the Big 12 this year, because there are a lot of decent teams in that league, but they're probably only going to get 2 out of it. What would it take for Fernando Mendoza to win the Heisman without having a true another marquee game to play per se? I'm not sure that he can do anything other than pile up stats, which he's going to have a game like Michigan State, UCLA, Maryland, maybe every game the rest of the way where he can pile up stats. And so that'll make a huge difference. It'll certainly be interesting to see how it goes, to see if he can get it done. It'll be interesting. I think that he can. I think that he can do what no other Indiana player has done, especially on this type of team. And that's what it takes, unfortunately. You have to also be on one of the best teams. It's no longer just the best player. It's the best player on the best team is where that has gone to. But you got Haynes King at Georgia Tech. I think they're undefeated right now. He's a 6-year quarterback leading the Yellow Jackets. CBS Sports shook up their top 25 quarterback rankings with Ty Simpson in first, Fernando in second, Haynes King third, Jaden Maavia from USC fourth, Julian Sayin fifth. And then who's the kid from South Carolina that was getting all the talk? I still haven't seen his name. Byron Brown from USF. Damon Williams Jr. from Washington, CJ Carr, Notre Dame, Brendan Sorsby, Cincinnati, Sawyer Robertson, Carson Beck all the way down to 12th. Trinidad Chambliss down to 13th. Joey Aguiar down there. Diego Pavia, Josh Hoover. John Mateer all the way down to 18th. Jalen Daniels. Luke Altmaier, 21st. Sam Levitt. Think of all these names. Dylan Raiola, 24th. I mean, that's how things change. And it's how quickly they change. I talked about Texas A&M earlier. I think that they might be the best team in the SEC. It's right now it's looking to be them or Alabama. Our old friend Kalen DeBoer. Can you imagine that an Indiana-Alabama matchup? that would, the way things are going, that would take a little doing if both of them finish highly, as it's looking like both are going to do. Man, heading into this weekend, make sure you get your picks in to the ESPN College Pick'ems for ISB. Don't be like me and forget to do it last week, especially with the traveling to Oregon. But what a great trip that was. Perfect football weather. Now, speaking of weather, I saw earlier in the show several of you talking about the potential weather situation on Saturday in Bloomington for the Michigan State game. And right now, that forecast is partly cloudy in the morning, thunderstorms developing later in the day. Storms may contain strong, gusty winds, a high of 79 expected, winds south to the southwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour, and a chance of rain, 60%. And then showers and thunder showers during the evening will give way to steady rain overnight. So the rain is coming on Saturday without question. But that's okay. Into a little East life, a little rain must fall, right? It's been pretty good weather so far, so surely the peeps can take a little rain. Still going to be nice weather. Opportunity for Indiana fans to get out and celebrate their third-ranked team in the country. And to be honest with you, is this a time where Indiana fans need to show out? Show Kurt Cignetti this is the place where he needs to stay. Is that something that, he looks up into the stands and takes into consideration? I don't know. I'm just asking. But think about that. I mean, is that something, we talked about these other teams that could potentially look at having Kurt Cignetti, who wouldn't want to have a coach like that? But when you look up into a 53,000 seat stadium and see a bunch of empty seats, which has not been the case for a while, but with this rain coming, I hope that doesn't fend off the fans. I think they'll show up. Just put on the poncho, man. Just put on the poncho. That should be on a t-shirt. Just put on the poncho, man. Fun day. Big thanks to Coach Griff, for joining us. Of course, Dustin Schutte. Make sure you're following these guys and keeping up with their content. Matt Taylor with the Colts. Make sure you're listening to Matt on the broadcast on Sunday. The Colts going for their 6th win of the season. We're back tomorrow to do it again, Todd. No, he won't be. Have to need to talk about that tomorrow. Remind me, and I will. Zach Osterman, Alec Lasley, and we'll see what else we can get going. Hope you go out and have yourselves a great day. I'm Jim Coyle. Until tomorrow, I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.